So I recently took a chance on purchasing this MacBook Pro. This was sold to me as untested. They just had it in a wardrobe and didn't know if it worked or not, and I purchased it for the price of £30. I got this one from Vinted. This is, if you can see that, a 1278 MacBook Pro. And what's kind of special about this MacBook Pro is it's Apple's longest running configuration on a MacBook Pro. This was on sale from about 2012 to 2016. Yeah, it's got MagSafe, Ethernet, I'm guessing that's Firewire, Thunderbolt, 2 USB ports, SD card reader, a headphone jack, and this little cool feature on the side as well, which tells you how much battery's in there, which I love. They should bring that back. On this side, I guess that's Kensington lock. It's not going to be Type-C, is it now? And a DVD drive. And all of this was the base configuration for the MacBook Pro for all them years. This is the standard one that I thought it was. I plugged it in and it booted straight up, which I'm very happy about. So as you can see, it's the 2.5 GHz i5 mode. It's got 4 gigs of RAM. This was the default configuration at the time, and it has a 500GB mechanical hard drive. And one of the cool things about this particular model is that we can upgrade it. We can upgrade the RAM, we can upgrade the storage, we can even swap out the battery very easily, and we're going to do that today. We're going to give it a clean, and we're going to see if we can put something different on here, a Linux-based operating system, something more reliable for the modern day, and make this MacBook once again usable. Because currently, even opening the settings takes time. Look at that, there we go. It took a while there just to even get into the settings. So it's not really usable in 2026, but let's see if we can make it more usable and have some fun with it. So overall, the MacBook seems pretty good. Aesthetic conditions, a small little dent here. There is a couple of little scratches on the top. There's one over here. On the bottom, there's a few on this part here. But yeah, let's unscrew it and get into it. So as far as I'm aware, there's just little screws around the outside, and then these 3 at the back are quite longer screws. So we've just gone handheld mode here. There's definitely some dirt and grime on the bottom of the tray here of the MacBook. You have to get that all cleaned out of there. And there are some real big bits of dust just in here. Looks like there's even like a bit of food in down here near the speakers. Yeah, it's a bit gross, but this is kind of what you expect. I'd imagine this MacBook's never been opened. Still the original batteries to the original hard drive. There is the RAM. So once we clean the MacBook, what we're going to do is we're going to install an SSD, and we're going to upgrade it to 8 gigs of RAM and install probably Bazi. I'm thinking we're going to try something different. Everyone installs Bazi. I've never personally used it, but we'll see what we can do with it on here. So now giving our MacBook a clean. It's not a deep clean, but just get some of the bits and dust and bigger debris definitely out of the MacBook, just to help it out. I just found this piece of plastic when I was cleaning the MacBook, and I don't know where that's from, Mike. So what are we going to do? We're going to take the hard drive out and replace it with the SSD. We're going to upgrade it from 4 to 8 gigabytes of RAM. So when I had a look online, all we do is we just unscrew these 2 screws here, and oh, maybe they're a bit, maybe that's out. And then we just unscrew these 2 and they pull the hard drive by the tab. And this really was Apple's like last MacBook that you could actually upgrade. I know some other ones that you can upgrade parts on, but this was like their longest running thing. You could buy this MacBook off the shelf, you could upgrade it yourself. You know, look how easy that is. Of course, you've got your SATA adapter here on the end. So take that off. Look how easy that was. All we had to do was unscrew the bottom, and it's a crosshead screwdriver, or a Phillips, or whatever you call it. You know, Amazon Basic screwdriver kit once again strikes again. My favourite budget screwdriver kit. Who needs iFixit when you've got Amazon Basics? Yeah, there it is. There's the hard drive case. I believe we need to unscrew these little screws out of here, which need a Torx 6, I think. Just so it sits nicely in these little holders here. So yeah, Torx 6. I'm just going to screw this out of here. Some people say you should probably unattach the battery when you're doing stuff inside the laptop. I guess you're probably right. Nobody got time for that. I just love this older, thicker design MacBook. Don't get me wrong, the new generation Pros are nice. These ones still feel nice. Like, you know, the premium feel to these MacBooks is still there. They do feel like something that, you know, you spend a lot of money on it, you still want to be able to use it, even if it still can't do all the tasks of today. It's part of the reason we're going with Linux on this, which really is the choice of, you know, operating system for a lot of older devices, just because it doesn't have the spec, it doesn't have the bloat and die that modern operating systems do. And macOS, it really is the same as well. You know, things shouldn't take as long as they do, and it's because all this background stuff, all this modern stuff, you know, it takes away from the core functionality. And there's the little holders for, of course, as well. Weight reduction, that's going to help it go faster, isn't it? This isn't an amazing SSD, it's 128 gig SP solid state drive, it's a cheap one. But what is cheap in SSD anymore as well? Like, I was looking at an SSD because we do these videos, and it's just nice to have a, you know, a fresh, clean drive. We don't need a lot of storage for doing something like a Linux build. And even cheap SSDs that were like £15 in October of last year are now like £35-40. Like, damn, that is an increase. So that just slides in there like so. There we are. It sits nicely in there. Look at that. That's some real thought. I like that. Back in here, we swap our screwdriver head to our crosshead. Look how easy that was. You know, no desoldering, no special attachment like we did the MacBook Air 2011, which is another video on the channel, and it needs a special hard drive. Like, it needs a special like format of, like, I don't know, whatever it was, NVMe or something. It's a special pin layout. Why? So I also bought this RAM pre-owned off eBay. It's like DDR3 might be the way to go for the future, because this was £8.50. You know, Samsung DIMMs as well. Try getting anything close to that in DDR5 or even 4's going up a bit. And we're going to push these down, lift that one out. There we go. I've never liked stacked laptop memory like this. It's always made me a bit cautious, and of course I've not tested these DIMMs either, so we could get through all this, turn it back on, and it might not even bloody work. I just don't think. Ah, there we go. That probably isn't the way to remove laptop RAM, but it's out of there now, so I think that went in easy enough. I guess we're getting stuck at 4 gigs. Get out of there. Sticky RAM. And we just push this one in, and there we are. We're in. I think what we're going to do first of all is I'm just going to try turning it on before I put the backplate on, just because we had issues with the RAM. I'm going to see if it boots up. Also as well, nice kinetic condition on the keyboard. There's a few marks up here. Screen needs a good clean, but we'll see. Ooh. So far, you guys probably can't see. I think this hard drive has Windows 7 on it of all things, and I don't know if it's going to like this. Maybe our hard drive isn't booting. And hold the option key and boot on. See if we can get booted into the drive select screen. So there we are. It sees our drive at least, I think. Yeah, I think this is the Windows 7 drive from the Alienware laptop that we did a review on. Yeah, it is. There it is. Alienware. Windows Home Premium. This boots, we're just going to check that the RAM looks right and that. Right, and there we are. I've got hardware info, but I hope the screen is more visible here. But yeah, we've got our 8 gigs of RAM there. So everything else seems to be working on here, which is good. Even CRS hard drive done that. Of course, the hard drive's working. We won't be looking at Windows if the hard drive wasn't working. But let's screw everything back together and see about installing Bazzite. So this Bazzite installation has been taking ages, and it hasn't really moved much. I think I may have found the reason why. I think I've definitely selected the wrong operating system. The minimum spec for this thing is 8 gigs of RAM and a quad-core processor. As far as I'm aware, this is only a dual-core i5. I think I'm going to stop this installation and pivot to Ubuntu. The Ubuntu minimum spec is a lot better, and I think we're going to have a much better time using Ubuntu than this, because this isn't even partway installed and it's taking ages. So back to the drawing board on this one. I'll go make a Ubuntu flash drive and we'll get to it. So we created a USB installation for Ubuntu, and it seems to be working a lot better than Bazzite. It's a lot more interactive, and it just seems to be getting on with things a lot faster than our other option. The only thing up to now is I don't seem to have any Wi-Fi, which is a bit concerning, because I don't know how else I'm going to get Wi-Fi unless I plug it into Ethernet and maybe someone's created a driver. I hope that's the case. I'll let this install and I'll come back when it's finished. So after getting Ubuntu installed, one thing I did have to do was find a way to get Wi-Fi drivers. They didn't actually come with the installation itself, which was very unfortunate. Luckily, I found a post on Reddit. I'll post it on screen of what you can enter, and it'll download the Broadcom drivers. For you will need, of course, Ethernet, But a good thing about this MacBook is it does come with Ethernet on the side, so you can plug it straight in, get the drivers downloaded, get everything updated quickly, and then you're ready to go. You've got a comparable experience. So of course we upgrade the SSD and we upgrade to 8 gigs of RAM. From doing some testing and stuff in usability on this model, 8 gigs of RAM was definitely a good call. I see places where we were going above 8 gigs of RAM. You don't want to be struggling all the time. And for anyone saying, well, yeah, this MacBook can be upgraded to 16 gigs RAM, yes, it can. Getting 16 gigs of RAM is actually more expensive, about the same price as I paid for this MacBook. The whole idea of me doing this was you can use parts that you might have lying around or parts that won't break the bank. £8.50 for some RAM or £10, whatever you find it on eBay, to upgrade your RAM is not going to break the bank. An old SSD or SSD that you've got lying around like I did, you don't need something massive. You only, need something small to put Linux on. You need more if you're going to store more data. We're going to say you don't and you want to use this as like a web browser machine, which this is something that this machine does very well. We can click in and watch some YouTube videos here. The speakers aren't bad. The video's not bad. The colour I'm seeing on my phone does look a bit different to the colour it's on the screen. But all these buttons as well that come with the Mac, like your volume up and down, they'll work perfectly fine. It is a 1200 by 800 display, 16 by 10, so you're not getting a full HD picture. But to be honest with you, it doesn't look bad. It's very usable, very responsive, which is all good stuff that you want from a MacBook that you're trying to repurpose. You're gonna have no issue at all doing a bit of web surfing, going around, opening a few different tabs up. You're not going to have any problem with that. Everything on Ubuntu all works pretty well. And I think the keen-eyed amongst you will have seen this icon open over here. We've downloaded Steam and we've added some games to see what would play, what wouldn't play. So the games I picked, I had a Mac Mini of a similar age back when I first got my first Mac Mini, similar spec, and Left 4 Dead 2 did used to play on that. It doesn't want to play on here. It'll open up, it'll get to the menu. The moment you try starting it, doesn't work. Same with like River City Girls. This game, it'll look like it's going to open. It'll open like a little application window here in a second, and then it'll just close, and then it just closes, it crashes out. But you can play some games like Below quite easily. Of course, Below isn't, it's not a very demanding title, but things like that you can definitely play. So here I've just started a new game off, and yeah, this is definitely, a playable experience on here. Basic game like this is not going to take a lot, but it's something else that you can do with this MacBook. Whole idea is that we want to reuse technology, stop it going in the landfill. Just because it's not good for the original use that you bought it for, doesn't mean that it can't be, repurposed for something else. And that's what I want to try and show you guys in this video. You can take something like this, something that was in someone's wardrobe doing nothing, and it can be repurposed for some other use, even if it's just for surfing the internet. Maybe give it to a older relative or something that just uses it for Facebook, Amazon, bit of email in the web browser, or maybe even for yourself that you just want another laptop somewhere, and it doesn't matter if it gets damaged, And another thing with this, we talk about the gaming side, of course, emulators are going to work on this. But here I have, if you've watched our video, the Mamba control, got the USB dongle plugged into the side, and it works perfectly for something like this. There are a few different possibilities for something like this. Media consumption, streaming is another one. Not all games play, even like older titles. But yeah, definitely some small titles. And if we look in our system on it here, you can see why you'd need the 8 gigs of RAM. We're currently using 4.8. It's not completely taxing the system completely, it's not pushing it to the brink, but it's a different way, to repurpose it. So overall, I want to know what you guys think. Would you do this to an old MacBook? Give an old MacBook some new life. We're doing a couple of simple upgrades, and hopefully when SSD prices go back down, this will be an even cheaper upgrade. So if you already have something like this lying around, and maybe at some point in the future I will repaste this machine and see if that affects temperatures and can improve it just a little bit more. I'd have done that today, but I couldn't find any thermal paste lying around. But that's always something for next time, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe if you like the video, and I'll see you next time.